I was at NEW for a couple of years, and my husband, meanwhile, after being out of work for some time after the orchestra collapsed, had gotten a job at Channel 13 on a show called, oh God, Sheila Nevins worked on it too, Great American Dream Machine. So he was now moving into television, and his musical background was very useful to him. But I was also becoming exhausted. Doing a half-hour radio documentary every week was an absolute killer job. It was really hard. So one day I saw a notice in Variety that said, ABC News looking for a second woman correspondent. And I read the thing, and it said they were have to call so-and-so about an audition. So I thought, well, hey, I can do that. I've been working in news for 9 years. I'm a writer. I've done broadcasting. What the heck? I have nothing to lose. So I called up and spoke to Jesse Zausmer, who was the vice president, director of news. And he said, well, you have to come over and audition. I said, well, what do I do? He said, you should write a 1-minute newscast, prepare to do it on camera, and ad-lib a little biography. So I thought, okay. Well, I did. I went over there, went in the studio, and I did the best I could. And then I didn't hear anything. In the meantime, a lot of changes were taking place. I was still doing radio documentaries, and about a month after I auditioned, I got a very good review of a documentary I did in Variety, and Jesse Zausmer, who I'd spoken to, sent me a little clipping with the review saying, nice job. I thought, well, I guess this thing is still alive. My boss at radio, Lee Hanna, was moving to CBS radio, and he asked if I wanted to come and work for CBS radio. Well, I thought, I'm going to call Jesse Zausmer at ABC first to see what happened to this television job. And I called him up and I said, and this was truthful, although somewhat incomplete, I said, I've been offered a job at CBS News. Should I take it? I said, I haven't heard from you. And he said, no. He said, come over here. So that's how I got hired at ABC.
And what was your title when you started?
Correspondent.
And why did they want another female news person?
I don't know. I think they were dissatisfied with the one that they had. Lisa Howard, who was a former actress, who had done some rather striking interviews. She had interviewed Castro when he came to the United States, and she was very gutsy. But she was also anchoring a daytime program called News with the Woman's Touch, 5 minutes to 3 in the afternoon, sponsored by Purex, who came up with that, really, from this vantage point, terrible title. But the thing was, it was a hard news program. It had news inserts from a film from around the world, and it had our reporters reporting, etc. I think they wanted somebody else because they didn't like her. She was difficult. And they thought if she left or if she got fired, they needed another woman for this show, because that's what Purex wanted. So I don't know that's for a fact, but I think that's probably true. So I'm hired in September or October, and it happened to coincide. I went out and I did my first few television stories. I have to say the film crews were very helpful, because as much as I knew, there was a lot I didn't know. But they said, no, sit here, stand there. I knew how to get the story, but some of the technical things I didn't know right off the bat, but they were really helpful. So I had done quite a few stories, and Lisa Howard really foolishly got involved in a political campaign. Well, you can't be a correspondent and do that. It was a campaign for Senate, Bobby Kennedy versus Kenneth Keating. And she became involved with the Keating for Senate campaign, and she was suspended immediately. Well, guess what? I had to start anchoring News with the Woman's Touch, because I was the only woman they had. It wasn't that I was so great, but I was there. So I start doing the daily 5-minute show, and they want me to go do an interview every day of some kind of news thing for that show. So I was running around doing that either before the show or after the show. I was busy. Um, Occasionally, they would let me go away for a week to do a campaign, a political campaign, or to do another major story, during which they had to bring in the one female news producer that they had in Washington to substitute for me. She wasn't even the correspondent. She wasn't that great on camera, but they didn't have anybody. So I did go away occasionally. And finally, they hired another woman for a while. They seemed to come and go. There was never another, more than one besides me, and they didn't seem to last. But they did hire somebody else so that I could go for a month when I did finally go to Vietnam in '66.